We'd like to welcome you back
to
the
Iron
Brothers
Podcast
and
Video. Welcome back, ladies and gents.
Hello.
You know what you look like?
What do I look like?
You look like you're a half Ironman older.
Yeah.
Now.
Wait, you do too.
No way.
Yes, you do.
Wait, how?
Straight up. I think that's because we finished a Half Ironman.
Dang straight.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're mature. We're older. We're wiser.
Ooh, I like that. Mature.
We're mature.
Yes.
We're more physically fit. More physically prepared. Experts, I would say.
Yes.
I would say probably top of the class, top of the leaderboards when it comes to anything related to triathlons now.
Once we're talking about our places, we're thinking prize money, sponsorships,
podium, medals,
meeting the president,
becoming a foreign diplomat, and
becoming an international sensation.
Superstar.
Yes, all of the above.
This feels like a couple months into being a dad. You're like, I've got it figured out. I know everything.
His super dad.
Yeah. And then dads that have had children that are fully grown, they're like, you don't know anything yet.
Oh, you don't know what's gonna get you.
All right, let's get into it. What are we talking about?
That's a great question. Well, on July 6th of this year, 2024,
Year of our Lord.
The year of our Lord, Logan and I officially completed a Half Ironman during our regimented workout training plan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Spot on.
1.2 mile swim,
56 mile bike ride,
13.1 mile run,
half Mary.
Yeah, 70.3 miles.
So leading up to this, we finished our build phase. If you remember, we're in a 3-phase, 30-week training plan. Finished that first 20 weeks. First 10 weeks.
Base phase.
Second 10 weeks.
Build phase.
What we just finished. And starting the third phase.
Peak phase.
The last 10 weeks before the real deal. And so 2 weeks in, was it? Into the peak phase that we did this?
I think we had it. It didn't line up with our schedules to do it on the exact weekend in the book, so we pushed it back a week. So it was regimented to be on the end of week 22, but we did it at the end of week 23. And now we're at a little over halfway through week 24.
Yep.
That's crazy. 5.5 weeks left.
Yeah. So we're a little over a month away.
Yeah.
The Ironman is next month.
Less than 50 days.
Yeah. Almost a month away. Today, I think we're going to talk a lot about that kind of mock 70.3 experience because obviously we didn't sign up for a half Ironman, like a true organized one.
Yeah.
In the training plan, it was kind of built in. And so we decided, hey, we're going to find a place. We're going to do this on our own with help from people, of course, and just do it ourselves. 1, I think obviously it saves money. 2, more flexibility. 3, we can do it wherever we want. Just so many pros of doing it that way, as long as you have the help and as long as you prepare. And so talk to us about a little bit of what that preparation looked like.
Yeah. So I'm gonna quote it as our backyard Ironman. You ever hear those backyard ultras that people do just kind of on a whim?
Backyard Ironman.
It's our backyard Ironman. So for our backyard Ironman, pretty much what we did is Logan and I sat down. Was it about a week before, or maybe even just a couple days before?
Yeah.
But we sat down, and then we also sat down with our very close friend Kyle, who was actually able to film us and do a lot of photography during this backyard Ironman. Shout out Ivory Creek.
Shout out Ivory Creek. Once again, you know the name. You've heard the name.
Go book yourself a session with them.
Couple shoot.
Before they are too busy.
Wedding, engagement, baby announcements.
Dog announcements. Yeah. Soft launch, hard launch.
Medium launch. Medium rare launch.
Aggressively medium. You name it, they've got it. But we met with him too, just so he could get the logistical aspect of where we kind of wanted him at what times, what type of footage we wanted to shoot, and what type of vibe we wanted to go with throughout the whole video too. But we sat down and we found we thought was a very optimal place to do it, but we found out that I'm going to say optimistically, we got a lot of great hard training.
Yeah. I think it prepared us well.
Extremely well.
Yeah.
Like very good.
Yeah.
So we went to a local lake, which is about 35, 40 minutes away. It's a Henry Hagg Lake. It's a lake outside of Gaston and Forest Grove. Beautiful little lake style, man-made dam of a lake. Mm-hmm. And so it was a great opportunity for the swim aspect, because it mimics the same type of swim that we were going to have for our ultimate race at end of August for the full Ironman. So we were kind of going for same style of swimming, same style of elevation gain, and same style of heat conditions. And I think we touched all three of those and went above and beyond by a lot, which I'm very happy about. Mm-hmm. So when we were planning, we were figuring out, looking on Google Maps, specifically how to map out the swim. And so it was just basically an out and back that we did for the swim. And what was beautiful about Henry Hagg Lake is there is pretty much an exact 10-mile loop that goes around the whole lake. And so we used that for both the bike and the run. And so we did 5.5 laps for the bike, and we did 1 and a little bit of change of a lap for the run.
Yeah.
So we were just kind of figuring out where we wanted to park our cars in the parking lot in correlation to where we were getting out of the lake to swim, and if that was reasonable from going from there out to the main road to do the loops. And I think it all turned out really good.
Yeah.
You want to talk about like our support system that we had?
Yeah, for sure.
What we put in place?
I think it would be really challenging, if not, maybe not possible to do that, at least what we did, without people helping out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to start with, we had your mom help us out with the swim. So she paddled out on a paddle board to that halfway mark, which if anyone's done any open water swimming, it's a little bit disorienting and it's a little bit hard to
daunting.
Judge. Yeah, where you are in the water. And so to have someone out in front of you to be that marker for you is incredibly helpful, especially to know, I mean, we were 70 yards off, at least from what I calculated, from that true distance. So we went 1,930 yards of the 2,000-ish that it should be, which is, I think, incredibly...
So we went over, right? Or no?
Just short, 1930 out of 2,000.
Oh, okay.
Is what I calculated. So incredibly close to what it should be.
I think the full swim is 3,800.
Oh, so maybe
it might have just touched a little over.
So we might have just did it perfect. My point proven.
There we go.
Super helpful.
Yeah.
And that's just a small piece of it, but all of those pieces sort of added up throughout the day. We had obviously Kyle there helping us film, and he was a great help in just the whole process of the day, especially because we talked logistics with him, so he knew kind of how everything was flowing, where we were going to be, etc. And then we had his wife Olivia there helping, and Olivia's dad Jeremy helping as well, and doing a little bit of filming. So thank you, Jeremy.
Shout out Jerm.
And then we had my wife and our friends Kellen and Taylor show up later in the day, as well as Jacob's wife Caitlin was there as well. And I say all these names to say that they helped not only unpack, but helped make sure when we had transitions and different spots we had to be at different times in the race. So when we came back from the swim, our stuff was right there. It's a public area, so having someone watch over it too is honestly nice, so you don't have to be worrying about that or try to get stuff out of your car. But it was lying right there. Obviously, they were great encouragement too.
I wouldn't have been able to finish without at least my wife
Yeah.
and her encouragement. So shout out, Caitlin. Love you,
Yes.
appreciate you.
So great encouragement. Great in terms of helping us logistically carry everything out, and gear wise, coming back from the bike, having everything prepared for us, water, words of encouragement, like I said, and just slapping our butts and getting us back out there. And then we'll talk about it more, but on the run, it was a hot one. So to have kind of like an aid car that could monitor us, especially because we at the time didn't have phones on us.
True.
Which
Rookie mistake.
yeah, I might do differently if we ever did it again. But having some way of people being able to track you, to keep tabs on you with something like this, a big endurance event, I think it's super important that safety is at least considered, especially with how hot the day was. It would be
foolish of us.
It would be foolish of us to not have some way that people could keep tabs on us, check in on us, and just see how we're doing. So amazing support, amazing friends and family, obviously. And so I think whatever that looks like for you, it might not be a big group of people. It might just be a friend or spouse or someone like that. I think the more the merrier, and the more help you can get is awesome. But try to keep safety in mind, try to keep the logistics in mind, also planning out ahead of time what that nutrition is going to be like, what that gear is going to be like, and where it's going to need to be at what time.
Yeah. And like, speaking of that aspect of preparing in terms of like nutrition and even like the week leading up to the Half Ironman, like what did you do differently and to like get you ready in an aspect?
Yeah. Jacob sent me this super helpful little guide that he put together for the days leading up to the Ironman. So 2 to 3 days beforehand, what that nutrition should look like. Workout wise, we tapered. So we were lowering that volume, just trying to give our body some time to really get to 100% beforehand. And then 2 to 3 days before, really starting to get electrolytes in your system. And I actually got a new powder for this specifically, one that had electrolytes and carbs, which you've had before, and it's great for endurance races. You have used the BPN before.
Yes.
And
hey, shout out.
Go one more.
Hey, let's go one more.
Sponsor us.
Let's go one more.
And for this race, I decided to try out Tailwind.
Oh, ever since you mentioned that product, I've just been getting ads left and right on my Instagram feed.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. They're listening. And so as I was trying to, days beforehand, get electrolytes in my system, I also wanted to make sure I got that specific product early enough that I could try working out with it, try just getting it in my system and making sure like my stomach was okay with it. It wasn't going to upset me, anything like that. And then 2 to 3 days beforehand, as I'm getting those electrolytes in throughout the day and hydrating, you talked about getting the carbs in. And so we had a little breakdown for that, but really just trying to stack on those carbs beforehand.
Yeah.
And especially starting a few days early is going to get a great jump on it. And then just making sure you get good sleep, stretch a lot. I really wanted to make sure, because we both had knee things in the past and all kinds of stuff. I really wanted to try to get those as good and as loose as possible so that that wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah. I second all of that stuff. I definitely increased like my carbohydrate and my electrolytes like 2 to 3 days prior to the race. My body did not handle that very well. I was just going through I don't know if it was sickness or allergies. I honestly don't know what it was, but I had diarrhea for 2 days straight prior to the race and diarrhea before the race as well. So obviously I was definitely dehydrated going into the race, which was not smart, especially going into high 90s temperatures, but we finished, so that's all that we're worrying about. But just being diligent about weeks prior of like, okay, making sure, like, even doing the stupid stuff of like, okay, I'm just going to wash my hands more often. Make sure you keep the germs away.
Yeah.
Or making sure, okay, I can either lay in bed right now and read 10 minutes of my book a night, or I can get to bed 10 minutes earlier and do stretching next to my bed, and just getting that extra due diligence in, and just feeling confident that you've done everything physically possible to prepare yourself for the race. And I felt like I did for the most part, other than just my physical body and what state it was currently in prior to the race. But overall, I took away a lot from the race, which if you ever have like a high endurance mileage event upcoming, and just being able to experience like half the distance or 3/4 of that distance prior to the actual event, it gives you lots of golden nuggets on how you want to either press in to pre-existing thoughts and goals, or for you to reroute your pre-existing goals and how you can combat the issues that you experienced during those specific segments. So like, let's say, for example, the swim. I felt like my swim was very strong during the Half Ironman. I'm not going to change a whole lot in terms of my regimen, my frequency, my intensity for these next 6 weeks. I'm just going to keep it the same. Still get two to three swims a week in, averaging around 5,000 to 6,000 yards. I'm not trying to go crazy with that. I will reroute how I pace myself on the bike. I felt like our first 3 loops were great, but I was really starting to hurt after our aid station after the third. And I probably should have left off the gas and maybe finished 10 minutes later than when I did, just to give myself a little extra energy in the tank prior to the run. So I'll make sure to kind of keep that thought of just pacing myself and just trying to slow myself down during the bike part, during the next event. And then the run too, it's just mainly focusing on just the mental aspect of just turning the feet over every time, just focusing on your heart rate, your breath, your footsteps. I feel like what I'm going to do, changing a lot with the bike, will help also translate to the run as well. I'll have more energy. I'll have more stamina. And just kind of going forward with that.
Definitely. I think that's great. I guess for me, what I learned, I think likewise, swim felt pretty good. It really helped because we got an open water swim in the week prior at that same spot. And I think all open water swim practice that I've gotten now, which has been 3 times, has been greatly beneficial for me, like my nerves, and just like comfort level in the water, in my wetsuit, what that mobility looks like, and just kind of learning more about it. So that was just another nugget of like, this is a great opportunity to get more comfortable in this space with this new experience a little bit. I would say about halfway in the swim, I got a side cramp. So I'm wondering, I had a bottle of water with electrolytes in it that morning, but I'm wondering if maybe I need to up that a little bit just so that doesn't happen. Not 100% sure, but we can definitely talk about that. But it almost put me out, but I kind of pressed through it and eventually went away, which was super awesome. The bike I felt pretty good at. It was nice to have Jacob there, because I think on like hills, we've done plenty of bike rides together before, and I tend to want to push on hills a little bit more, and I think it gasses me out. It fatigues my legs a lot, and so to have someone there to help pace the hills, especially because we did probably 4,000 plus feet of elevation on our bike ride, so it was pretty dang hilly, which is great prep for Penticton because it's a hilly course. But it was great to be able to pace that well and to coast up the hills. What Jacob said in my ear one time when we were biking, he's like, this isn't where you're going to win the race. By trying to push on those hills and try to make up whatever seconds you're going to get by doing that. So just being nice and easy, really comfortable with the gears going up the hill, trying to keep, at least what I think in my head is kind of that same speed of foot rotation as I'm going up the hill, and I'm just lowering the gears until, I can keep that same pace and coast up the hill. I think one thing that I did well was hydrate solid on the bike and get good nutrition. So goos and waters with electrolytes in it. And I really wanted to emphasize that on this so that I could prep or over prep for the run. Because I think running, I don't know, it stirs up things in my stomach more. And especially when it's that last leg, I think it's just really easy to get tired of whatever it is you're eating or drinking. And so I just wanted to be over prepared going into that. And I felt pretty good going into it, but the heat and the hills were so brutal. I think the downside for me was once I started out comfortable and I started out slow, I started to speed up more and got like almost too comfortable in that faster pace, and then had to bring myself back in a little bit. So I think having kind of a goal going in of what pace I want to set and try to maintain, and not think to myself, I'm feeling good so I can go a little bit faster. I really want to just keep that pace, try to keep as much in the tank. And if I have anything left in the tank by the end, then I'll expend it at the end. But for a full marathon, a lot of what I processed is that there's not going to be much in the tank at the end there. So better to save it for those last 10 miles, last 5 miles, last 3 miles, just to try to maintain that pace that I'm at. So those were some of the big takeaways for me. Small things too, small things that I didn't think about. Like we started the bike and we both had fanny packs on to keep, a repair kit. I have a tube in there, maybe a couple goos. I put it on upside down. And so as we were biking, I was like, I can't pull anything out with this upside down because it's all just going to fall out. And so I was trying to ride with no hands and like unbuckle and flip my fanny pack, and I almost crashed like 2 times. I was like 50 yards behind you, so you probably couldn't see me.
No, I had no idea. That's so funny.
And it was frustrating because I was like, I just wasn't thinking about that in the transition.
So just taking that extra 30 seconds in transition to just kind of do your due diligence. Like, okay, my race isn't going to win or lose in this section either, Yeah.
And just fully prep for that. My goggles, one eye filled up with water on the way back, so I stopped every now and then and kind of dumped it just a few times.
And I think during the swim, I don't know about you, open water swimming, it feels like it takes forever, but when you get out of the water, you're like, oh my gosh, I've done only this much.
Literally.
Like, this is insane.
Yeah.
I think during the full Ironman, I'll take breaks and just do backstrokes.
Okay.
Like maybe every 15 minutes, just do like 50 meters of backstrokes just to kind of recompose the body and just also switch it up and like break it down in a sense to the point where I'm like, okay, I have 2 more segments of backstrokes and then I'll be done type of thing. Just being able to break it up.
Yeah.
Because it did feel like a long distance to get out there. And then when I swam around the paddleboard, I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta go all the way back now.
All the way back. Yeah. That's the thing that kept replaying through my head is like that first
whatever distance you go out.
Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, where is it? And then I was like, oh my gosh, the farther I go, the farther I'm coming back.
I felt like we got halfway over the lake.
Yeah. But I think great lessons learned from that, the small stuff, the big stuff. And like we said, it was a very, very challenging day with the heat, the hills, and just all of that combined to make it a really difficult half Ironman.
Yeah.
And the great thing is it's probably going to be hot on August 25th. We know it's going to be hilly, and it's going to be long and difficult. And so that's great preparation for us.
Yeah, it's not going to blindside us.
Yeah.
You know? And I feel like you also need to consider, too, is you need to realize you did a half Ironman.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's very exciting.
I keep trying to think about that. I have a very bad issue of enjoying the moment and enjoying like the achievement. Like I catch myself sometimes this last week, like, oh man, I feel like I'm not doing enough. Gosh, if I put in a couple more hours here, a couple more hours there, man, if I just did the right things on the bike. But and then it also comes to me, it's like, man, you did a freaking half Ironman. Like, we need to be able to take pride in that and to know, like, your first half Ironman was a backyard Ironman too.
It was pretty nice.
No volunteers, no aid stations, just a couple guys and a couple best friends and wives. And it was
couple drones.
It was a party.
Yeah, it was a good time.
It was a great time. And even though whenever we do release a video on that day, although I might not look like I'm in the best spirits during the run part, I had a blast, and I wouldn't change anything for that experience. And I don't know, it just feels like the bond that we get to continue to grow, it gets more and more deeper rooted in that grind, in that torture, in that endure. Yeah. And it's beautiful.
Yeah. And especially, like, I know we've talked about it, but a lot of the months of training, there's no celebration for a workout. Or like there's no people coming to see you do this or that. But like on a moment like this, you do start to see some of those things pay off. I think it's really cool to have a moment like this to stop and reflect how far we've come, and to kind of see it as an achievement. I mean, that's a big milestone for us, and it was super awesome to be able to share that with others and kind of give them a glimpse into kind of what we've been working towards. And it wasn't just another workout. It was a big milestone for us. And so I think there is a lot to celebrate there, not just to toot our own horns, but like we put in a good amount of work, and we're starting to see it pay off, and it's getting us closer and closer to that big goal. But we can absolutely take the time and celebrate this one along the way, because that's a first for me. Yeah. And that's pretty awesome.
It's fun to relish. It's fun to be able to celebrate, but got 5 more weeks.
Yeah, now we know
5 more weeks.
We have much better context to what that full looks like.
And how it's going to feel.
Physically,
but more importantly, mentally.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It's going to be a grind.
Yeah. It's like equal parts exciting knowing that we can do that, and then daunting to know that we're going to have to do twice that.
It'll be really important these last 5.5 weeks that we're being very diligent on our long bike rides, our long runs, getting in those longer workouts. Like, even if we need to skip a couple workouts these next couple weeks, the ones we have to hit are these long ones, just to get that mind muscle memory in play for those 5-hour rides, those 6-hour rides. Yeah.
One thing I'll just toss in there, because I've been thinking about lately, for peak phase, I've tried to not listen to any music or anything while I'm doing long stuff or any workouts, really. I think, just like you were talking about the little stuff in preparation for the Half Ironman, where you're being diligent about stretching, getting your sleep, getting all these things dialed in. To me, I want to be so like holistic about that I'm like, what is actual race day going to look like for me? What do I need to prepare for? And one of those things for me was like, I love listening to music or podcasts while I'm running or biking, but I need to get really comfortable just, being in my own head, controlling where my thoughts are at, and just getting that dialed in as best as I can.
Yeah.
Just being comfortable with that.
Yeah, being comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So sick.
That's great.
Yeah.
That should be a book.
That should be like a bumper sticker.
Oh,
that's funny. But no, it's super exciting.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Nope, I had no other. I'm just in filler time right now, to be honest. I'm just trying to bounce off you.
The big last thing that I want to say, I want to urge you, I want to implore you.
Challenge.
I want to
Ignite.
motivate you. I want to make you desire to check out what we're about to put out, the project for this Half Ironman.
Oh, baby.
Because like we talked about it, Kyle, Ivory Creek, Jeremy, we haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, we're getting some possible sneak peeks.
We're
even
getting
tonight.
some sneak peeks tonight, I think. But
Wow.
we already know it's going to be a banger.
Yeah.
We had GoPros on the bikes. We had drones up in the air. I don't want to give anything away, but
we had cameras on the water. We had cameras on us with the bike.
Yeah.
Oh, it was insane.
it was insane. The park trooper came and like pulled the birds out of the air at the very end.
Did they really?
I was finishing my run and Jeremy had the drone up in the air and he came over and he's like, you can't do that. And
No
he made him
way.
bring it down.
Funny you say that. The Rangers also drove by Germ's Jeep when on my run. And they were like, what are you guys like doing driving like on the shoulder?
Really?
And they're like, oh, we're just we're helping these guys do like a Half Ironman and on their run. They're like, oh, we thought you were looking for somebody like missing. And they're like, because we have someone missing. I was like,
What?
No way.
You're like, it could be way worse right now.
Yeah, I'm about to dip too. But no, that's crazy.
It's going to be fantastic. Kyle always does a great job. It's going to be so much fun to put this thing together.
Yeah.
And hopefully you guys have checked out the other video of Jacob doing his marathon.
Yeah.
My hope is that this one's going to be even more exciting, even more fun. And it's just going to be a great look into what that day looked like for us.
Yeah.
How we felt, what our thoughts were, what it looked like. And if anything, I think it'll just be a really fun video and a really awesome way to capture that day. So
Yeah. I agree 100%.
tell your mamas, tell your brothers, tell your sisters.
And we'll blast this everywhere. Your great grandparents will know of this.
Tell them to subscribe.
Yep. All right.
I think that's all we got.
Yeah. I'm maxed out. I'm tapped out.
Yeah.
Time to get those Z's in, get those carbs in, and
Never
get feeling
stops,
good.
baby.
Never stops.
Liv keeps joking around with me. She's like, "Did you get your carbs in today?"
No, it'll be funny though. Kind of the feeling once we are done with the Ironman and what life will look like after.
Yeah.
But I don't want to think about that too much right now.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Thank you for checking in. Wait, sorry, one more thing.
Yes.
Shout outs at the end for the real ones that stick around.
True. Shout out Aiden.
Shout out Aiden.
Yep.
Biggest, most monumentalist of shout outs to Evan for finishing his 70.3
right.
as well.
Evan D.
Evan D. Before us.
Hey.
You killed it. Good stuff. I got to track him a little bit towards the end of his race.
That's right.
Coeur d'Alene. Great job, man.
Good for you, Evan. Keep it up.
We're super proud of you.
Time to sign up for the real guy. I'm just kidding.
Love you, man. Yeah, we'll catch you when we catch you.
Yeah, you guys have a blessed week. May God bless you all and enjoy this week. We love you guys.
Love you. Peace.
Peace.